daughter are back. So I am Nicole and my mom is Jenny.
Hello.
In case we have it seems like we have a different, more new listeners, which is really cool. And we are a mother and daughter show. And this is only the fourth, or is this the fifth episode you're on, or fourth, Mom?
I think the fifth.
Fifth episode that we're doing together. So we're kind of learning, but we're having a lot of fun. And everyone's been so active on the Coco Caliente podcast page on Facebook, which it's a private page, so you just got to request to follow. But there's a lot of funny stories on there.
Yeah, and I'm learning lots of new things and like
laughing together and
yes,
yeah. So thank you everyone for being so supportive. We really appreciate it. We're having a lot of fun with it. And right now we have my dad watching Arrow. So if you hear a little bit of they're having playtime, and my brother's getting a haircut downstairs with Victor, and we just had a fish dinner, and it's Friday night. So
I think this is like the third. I was just trying to figure out third or fourth week in a row we've had our fish dinners. It's starting to become kind of like a little thing.
Yeah. Okay, so last week I talked about how I was I'm so full right now. Mom wanted to do this after we ate, and I told her I want to do it before. But okay, so I talked about the airplane thing, and we're going to Florida in February, and I said I was scared because I think like the air is like gross and it gets blown around from vent to vent, basically recycled air just going in and out of the airplane. Well, I was wrong, you guys. So this is great news. This is great news. And I think someone shared it on the Coco Caliente podcast page on Facebook. But I also did a little bit of research, and I talked to my chiropractor, who I love and trust immensely. And once she told me to, I was like, all right, I'm looking this up so I can set the facts straight here on the podcast. Because I guess I definitely don't want to spread things that aren't true. It's just something that my nurse friend said to me 10 years ago, and it just, when someone says something and it just sticks with you and you never Google it or look it up, you're just like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So I got a little bit of info on that.
Yeah, and actually, I think when we were discussing, we were talking about going in when we were going in March, because when we go in February, we were only going to be gone for a weekend, so we would have had to fly anyways. But once we found out all this stuff, we actually ended up booking, because the February was what we were deciding still.
We probably weren't going to go.
And we
were leaning towards no, because we're like, it's not. We don't need to if it's super risky to be on an airplane, why would we do that? And then once we learned it's really not as bad as we thought it was, we're like, okay, I think that we do need to get away. And so some of the facts are, let's see, the quality of the supplied air on board on an aircraft is much better than most indoor environments, which is insane. That's what my chiropractor told me. She's like, actually the air on the airplane is a lot cleaner than most indoor places. And I was like, no way. Also,
and you're all facing in the same direction, she said, so that's a good thing.
Yep. So yeah. So it says I got my
and wearing a mask.
I got my statistics in front of me. So it says how good is the cabin air? So yep, it says that because passengers face the same direction, your seat back acts as a barrier, and airflow is from top to bottom, and the air is very clean. So for example, the cabin air is refreshed 20 to 30 times an hour. So about 10 times more than office buildings. That's super, super interesting. 50-50. So this fact is the air supplied on board on an aircraft is half HEPA filtered air and half fresh air. So HEPA, HEPA filters, that means high efficiency particulate air. Oh my gosh, I don't like these big words. But anyways, it's super clean air. So it's continuously being cleaned and filtered, and that's the type of filter that we have in our air purifiers at home. And then also 99.99% is the rate in which it's effective at removing viruses and bacteria and fungi. So and with the mask protection, it's really a lot safer than I thought.
And the chiropractor told her, too, to make sure she's just breastfeeding the entire time. Mm-hmm. And then there's good for the baby. And I think...
So, to keep in perspective, the air in the cabin is renewed 20 to 30 times an hour or once every 2 to 3 minutes. I had no idea of this. Also, they did a bunch of, I read that they did a bunch of tests where they did all these basically they reenacted these scenes of someone sneezing on board, and then they used like glow in the dark stuff so they could see where it all went. And then they did sneezing in like a restaurant, and you're 6 feet away from someone. And when you were 6 feet away from someone in a restaurant, it was traveled much further, much worse, everything.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's super interesting. And these are it's research done by like Harvard. And also, okay, and they also said, so if someone next to you sneezes, or, yes, if someone's next to you, so you would think this. So, Mom, I'm going to ask you, if you're sitting on an airplane and the person in the middle sneezes next to you, you'd be kind of freaked out, right?
Well, yeah, but it would be, they'd have their mask on, so I know they'd sneeze in there, right?
Okay, but even if they didn't have a mask?
Then I'd be nervous, yes.
Okay, and then if you're in a restaurant and someone's 6 feet away from you and they sneezed?
I would be more worried about the person next to me.
And the person next to you actually had less. It had less. Just the way that it's projected and the air and everything. I'm like, okay, I feel so much better. It's not like I'm going to, push my luck with stuff. You need to wash your hands with soap for 20 seconds and, like, be as clean as you can, especially because Arrow can't wear a mask. But anyways, I was just like, I'm so relieved. I feel like I'll be able to breathe on the plane. I had no idea.
And then, speaking of that, like going back to, so once we decided to do that, she booked it. And I had a couple questions. We're staying in the same resort both times. So on Monday, I called to ask a couple questions about our stay in February. And then I said I wanted to check in already for our stay in March because I have a fixed week. It's always the same week. It's week 11, Sunday to Sunday. So I actually asked them, and here it was crazy because something about a leap year last year, we had already gotten everything bought, everything organized, and I had the wrong week. If you count Sundays from Sunday to week 11, I had the right week, but they changed the weeks. And they said they were apologized. They said they're having so much trouble, but they can't do anything to change it.
But the problem is that my mom already booked 5 previous days onto our vacation. So right now, in this moment, we had 5 days booked.
A week off,
and then a week booked. We're like, I'm just like, okay, we'll go for 20 days.
And
realistically, we can't.
And I was so stressed out. Like she did everything she could. She was looking. And so we decided, well, I'm going to have to sell my week and then buy another week. So but I'm like, this is so much work. And anyways, the next day I just decided, I called on Monday. She said, well, you can check back in case we have any cancellations in, a week or two. Well, I don't know what made me do it, but the next day I decided to check again on Tuesday morning. So I got a different lady, but I asked for the same one that I had previously because I had already talked to her about it, and I wanted her to check a couple more things for me. And so this new lady, anyways, she put me on hold because she had to go read all the notes or whatever. And my husband came home from work then. Dave came home from work. And it was so funny because I didn't think anything about it. I was cleaning my house, like buzzing around, cleaning my house. And you know how you put like it's not the music, or it's more like the muzak, like the background with no words. It's like.
What is muzak?
That's what I call that stuff.
What the heck? Did you just make that up?
I don't think so.
Yes, you did.
I don't think so.
It's not music, it's muzak. I'm confused. It's like instrumental music.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's what we used to call it when I was younger.
Okay, so I guess
this is when I was younger. We used to call that muzak. I don't know.
I'm gotta Google that.
Oh gosh. And anyways, it was the kind of music. It was the stuff that they put you on hold with. So he came in and he's going around doing his stuff, and I just was cleaning, but I wasn't by my phone at all because I was waiting. She told me it was going to be a while, so I was just doing stuff. It was like 10 minutes later, he says to me, honey, why don't you use the Google? And I said, use Google for what? And he said, to play music while you clean. He says, there's probably better stuff to listen to than the stuff on your phone. Oh my gosh. I just busted a gut laughing. I'm like, Dave, I'm on hold. He's like, oh, I thought you lost it or something. I said, I didn't know what was going on because usually if you're cleaning, you got some country music on. And he said, I said, I wondered why you kept looking at me funny when you're putting all your stuff away. And
I'm surprised if he hadn't said something, he would have called me and said, Nicole, you need to check on your mom. She's listening to some weird stuff.
Oh, it was so funny. I just started laughing so hard. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. But he had no idea, like, I was on hold or...
It's like that U2. He probably thought you were listening to that U2 stuff that's on everybody's phone. This episode is brought to you by Seed. Okay, Seed is really, really cool. And what it is, it's a daily symbiotic. So it's a probiotic and a prebiotic. And it does so much more than just gut health. Victor and I both take it. And it's really, really cool. And they're sustainable. I love how sustainable they are. So we can talk about that for a minute. So, for example, the shipping box is constructed from ecological paper made from algae that would otherwise, damage fragile marine ecosystems. They have glass jars that they send you. So that way they just send in compostable packaging, their monthly refills. Anyways, it's all recyclable and eco-friendly and things like that. So what's really cool about Seed is that most, prebiotics don't even make it where they need to make it in your gut to work because they're just like dissolved by stomach acids. So that is different here. They have a prebiotic outer capsule and a probiotic inner capsule. It gets to where it needs to go, and it does magnificent things from skin to heart to gut, right? Everything starts in the gut. So you can get 15% off your first month's supply of Seed Daily Symbiotic by going to seed.com/cocoa and use COCO, COCO at checkout. Again, 15% off your first month's purchase by going to seed.com/cocoa and use COCO at checkout. Thank you. My mom still doesn't understand that she gets in her car and it plays that U2 music. I don't really understand it either, but it's on everyone's phone. My mom's like, I never put this on my phone. Why is it playing? I'm like, I have no idea. But he probably thought you were listening to that.
But anyways, they fixed it. Mm-hmm. I don't know that they looked it up and they figured it out. And they said, this is a one-time fix. Make sure you check your week every time from now on. They'll fix it. So anyways, it was good news after waiting on the phone. An hour and 1 minute was my call. But
such good news, because we would have lost a little bit money in the whole process too, because the week that we were going to have to purchase
was more.
The owner was just selling it for more just because, like, a profit. And then we were just going to sell ours for exactly what the taxes are, because we're like, we just weren't going to be happy to rent it out. We just want to get rid of it, right? So my mom, I will say, she is very, very persistent when it comes to like that type of thing, where for me, I'm not persistent. Like, I'm just like, okay, well, I'll just figure it out, Mom. Like, it's fine. But I'm really glad that she does call back, and she does, like, she's always really nice on customer service. It's not like you ever, like, complain, or it's more of like she takes the whole role of... she, like, tells her whole life story and, like, every little detail of, like, what happened. She's very genuine and sincere in the process, and I think that helps because...
I fully took the blame. I said, I'm so sorry. I looked it up online under the redweek.com week, and she said, we don't follow that. We have our own. And even actually the guy I was going to rent from, I had already gotten a hold of him and found the guy I was going to rent from. And he said, oh my gosh, I had that happen to me 4 years ago. And I lost 2 of my clients for good because they went there and it was the wrong week. So, I mean, he said Orange Lake operates on their own schedule. Always check theirs. I'm like, I've just never had it happen. It's always lined up perfect with the thing I've checked. I just have never... I felt, I'm like, it is my fault because, I just...
Yeah, and I think that's what helps you get kind of the help, the actual help, because a lot of people like to say no, if you believe it or not. Like, I find people in my daily life that I just encounter, and they just like to, like, tell you no. Like, it's so annoying. But not that. That was actually a big thing. I'm talking about, like, smaller things, for example. Like, no, you can't do that, or I'm like, whatever. But... you're patient and you're very persistent. I know had they said no again, you would have probably called the next day. So persistence is key.
Not the next day. I would have waited at least a week this time. If they would have said, I just talked to you yesterday, you got to wait a week, I would have said, okay. But I already had my dog set up. We already have like 3 other families meeting us down there. It was just like, how am I going to fix this? I'm stuck. Like, this
Thank goodness we hadn't. We were just about to buy our plane tickets, but we didn't. But that would have been another, like... more stress added on. And my mom looked really visibly stressed, which was also making me stressed. So I was just like, Mom, it's not a big deal. Like, it's fine. We're going to fix it. And then she's like, oh, I didn't sleep. And when she doesn't sleep, she grinds her teeth. And it's like, Mom, it's okay. I'm just really thankful that you called because we would have showed up.
Oh yeah, I would have not had no idea. And I just decided, I'm like, well, can I just check in now? Because I like to always do that, let them know we're coming, because if I don't, one time they sent me a thing that said, oh, we haven't heard from you. Do you want to rent your week out? It's a high traffic area. So I just like to make sure they know, like touch base with them at some point and say, I'm going to be there. I'm going to use my week. And so that they know,
gosh. It was insane. Like, it was, thank goodness, especially because we would have had Arrow with us, and that's a baby, and we would have had to literally go find a place to stay because we flew all the way down there. Horrible. So we dodged a bullet there for sure. Something random that I kind of want to talk about today is I was in the shower and I was thinking about why when I'm at a restaurant do I feel like after I eat and I have like leftovers, do I feel like embarrassed or like a little bit weird, like shy to ask for a takeout container? You know what I mean? Do you ever feel that or no?
Depends on how much is left. Right. But sometimes they look at you like you're going to take that? No, well, they don't even say that. They're like, are you done with that? And they're just going to take it. So then it's like, if they ask me that, I don't ever say, well, no, I wanted a box. I'm done, but I want a box. If they say, are you done with that? And like, I just let them take my plate. I don't say, well, I was going to take it home, unless...
Right, then you let them take the plate, and then you say to us at the table, oh my God, she took my food. Which, my Aunt Tiff has a funny story where she said at this place, like, the food is huge. I'm not going to say the place or anything, but the food is huge, and she went up to go to the bathroom. She ate half of it, was going to take half home. She came back to her table, and it was just gone. She's like, oh my God, that was a huge meal I had left. But anyways, that's beside the point. I feel like a little bit weird, like and I was a waitress. I was a waitress in college and everything, and I was even a waitress after I won Big Brother because I just like wanted something to do and like be social. And anyways, I don't know. I think I always kind of just judged on the plate. So it's not like the waitress's fault or anything. Like, I would think you should kind of maybe always say, oh, do you want a box or something? But I feel like I'm a little embarrassed. I look at my plate and I'm like, okay, how much do I have left? Is this embarrassing? Should I like stuff it should I stuff it and eat it and be sick? Or should I just like feel a little embarrassed? But I'm paying for this food, so why do I feel embarrassed?
No, you shouldn't. And the thing is, it depends on who you're eating with. Like when we're all just eating together, like it's with your family or even the close friends, they'll be like, no, can I get a box for this? Like, I think I ask before they even ask me most of the time if I'm thinking I really want to take my food home. I will be like, and there's certain restaurants that always like, well, let me box up. If you go eat at Chinese, there's never a time they say, do you not want your stuff? They bring out this stuff and said, here, I'll bring you some boxes.
Oh, yeah, never.
And like pizza, it seems like that's another thing to go to. They always seem like they bring you a box for your pizza. But if I'm eating with people that I don't normally eat with.
It's embarrassing to take your leftovers home.
Yeah, because some of them will just eat a few bites of their food and they say, oh, I'm all done, and they don't take it home. So then if they don't take it home... But then I'm secretly
judging them, like, was your food really bad? Or, like, my dog would love that. No, but I just think... My hubby loves the leftovers. If I didn't take them home, he would look at me and say, I would have ate that later, So he doesn't like to waste food. He does not like to waste food at all. No, and we learned actually the hard way, I feel like, with all of we never really went to a lot of restaurants growing up. Once in a while. We go to restaurants way more. Well, now not so much with COVID and everything, but I'd say since adulthood for me, like, we go a lot more. It's more of like a family, like, outing. But we learned, like, I feel like the hard way to, if you're not done with your appetizer, hurry up and put that stuff on your food plate or something, because it will go. Like, because if you're sitting at the table with people you don't really know, and there's, like, say, like, 3 mushrooms left, like the deep fried bigger mushrooms, like, but they're, like, they're not huge, but, like, the size of a quarter, and you're just like, oh, I really want another one, but I don't want to, like, take one, or maybe there's 2 left, and then you're, like, hemming and hawing about it, and then you're like, maybe they want them. Anyways, just, like, put them somewhere, just go for it, because so many times I wanted something, and then it just gets thrown out anyway. So that's my...
And you can tell from this conversation that I raised a little foodie over there. she's
yeah, it's a little bad, but...
Yeah, but we are a family that actually, I mean, unless you just have a little bit left, but we do take our leftovers home, and I always eat them. Dave always eats them. Mm-hmm. Jesse eats them. Do you eat yours?
Oh, I meant cold. I wanted
but you
to bring
said
that
Victor
up.
Doesn't eat his, right?
No, I said Mariah doesn't.
Oh, Victor does too?
I went to, so in college, I lived with Mariah, and she would in college, she got like a full ride, and so she had like a lot of more extra spending money than I did, and so she'd kind of like bribe me to go out to eat with her by being like, hey, like, I can, like, cover some of your meal, Nicole. I'm like, oh, my God, whatever. I'll go with you. But she wanted to go to, like, Genji's and stuff, which was, like, $40 a plate. I'm like, Mariah, no, we're in college. Anyways, we would go, and it was just so...
You went to Applebee's a lot, didn't you?
Applebee's a lot and Olive Garden a lot. And it was so shocking to me because she would order, like, really good meals, and she wouldn't even eat, like, a ton of it, maybe, like, half. And then sometimes she wouldn't take it. And then the time she did take it, she just like left it in the fridge for 5 days and was like, oh, I'm not going to eat. Like, she's like, I wasn't going to eat that. I'm like, why are you not going to eat your leftovers? And she would still argue to this day with me right now. She's listening that, Nicole, I eat my leftovers. It's like, no, the amount of times I opened up the fridge and was like, Mariah, you didn't eat your leftovers. I would have ate your leftovers. She's just like, or I'll eat my leftovers cold right out of the fridge. And she's like, you're disgusting. But I mean, I just get excited when I know I have something that was good that's like cooked in the fridge. This episode is brought to you by Brooklinen. So Brooklinen is a company that's super awesome. They have a lot of different things, and I'll elaborate on that in a second. But it was founded by a husband and wife, which is really cool, to bring you direct to consumer like luxury products. So comfort is their number one priority. They have so many great quality products we use a lot in our household. We have their sheets, their pillowcases, we have their towels, and a lot of other things. You know, I just been adding to what we have here. And also I got my parents the Brooklinen sheets for Christmas, which is really cool because my mom needed sheets, and I said, okay, these are perfect. They're so soft. And honestly, like, the quality that you're getting and then what you're paying is just, it's really, really nice. So, okay, so a little bit more about them. Their curated designs are thoughtful and they're simple, and the colors and collections fit every customer, which is super true. Stress-free shopping, so they have chat support, and they do have fair prices because there is no middleman and no luxury markup. And basically, what they just do what they think you need to do to live the most comfortable life. So they have bed products from sheets to quilts, to blankets, to comforters. They have bath, so they have a bunch of different towels and so many different materials, and bath rugs and shower curtains. They have gifts and accessories from totes to candles to robes, and also loungewear, so tops and bottoms and dresses and jumpsuits. And then they have furniture and lighting and wall art and decor. So I feel like they just keep growing and growing. And they are the internet's favorite sheets. So they have over 75,000 5-star reviews. And then they're also talked about in a lot of different companies for what great things they are doing. So it's not just the consumers. It's also, you know, magazines and articles and things like that. So if you guys are interested, I do have a discount code for you. And that is, go to brooklinen.com and use promo code COCO, COCO, for $20 off with a minimum purchase of $100. That's BROOKLINEN.com and enter promo code COCO for $20 off with a minimum purchase of $100. Brooklinen.com, promo code COCO.
We went, was that, I can't remember this week. When did we go through McDonald's and get you a Coke? Or where'd we go?
Oh, we went to Pizza Hut.
Oh yeah. So Nicole got, she never drinks pop hardly. So
I don't.
So she asked for a Diet Coke.
But I didn't have coffee. So I was like, I need caffeine.
So she asked for a Diet Coke, and the girl said, do you want your Diet Coke to go? You didn't drink very much of it. She said, yes. And that was 2 days ago, and she drank, I still see her drinking it today. And I'm like, she's like, well, I can't drink all that at once. You know, I'll
get heart palpitations.
So she's still got her pop with her. I think you threw it away today.
I did. Yeah, it's gone. But yeah, and I was was like, yeah, I didn't, because I wasn't going to ask for like a to-go pop cup, because I think like, I guess like my thing with that is like, I don't know, that's kind of weird. Like, does she think, but it's not like I got a refill or something. It's not like I got a refill and was like, hey, can I get this to go now? Because people do that, which whatever, do what you want to do. But, she was a really good waitress.
Yeah, she was super
really,
nice.
really good waitress. And she was like, do you want a to-go cup or anything? And I was like, yeah, that'd be awesome. And then I was like, I would hate for this to go to waste. And she's like, yeah, me too. So she got it for me. And that thing, it lasted me 2 days. And Victor's like, where'd you go to lunch? Like, thinking I'm not going to tell him because he didn't think that I knew he saw my Diet Coke thing. I was like, Pizza Hut. And I was like, and I brought you a little personal pan pizza. You're welcome. So we actually had a good little lunch at Pizza Hut. We were the only ones in there. We went right at 11. Then people started trickling in when we were leaving. But that was like, it's kind of nice about living in a small town. You can be the only one in the restaurant.
Yeah, it was nice.
Okay, what else are we talking about today, do you think, Mother?
I don't know.
I also, okay, so if you guys have any suggestions about what to pack for Arrow for the trip that we're just taking like a little, like a, my mom said like the weekend getaway, but I think I have quite a bit of stuff, but I said on my Instagram today, I'm just trying to figure out, I don't want to get down there and then forget something that would make my life and Arrow's life a lot easier and better. So if you have experience with traveling at all with a baby, I have zero experience. Definitely please go on the Coco Caliente podcast, either our Instagram, which hopefully starts to become a little more active. I'm trying. Me and my mom did get some pictures taken. We're just waiting to get them back.
Hopefully they're decent. I'm a little bit.
So we will be changing the profile photo. And yeah, I have no idea what they're gonna look like. We got them taken, I think, like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks, or not that long.
They should 2 weeks ago. I think.
So yeah, I feel like they should be in within the next 2 weeks. Hopefully, they're cute. But then
if you don't see them change, then
they turned out horrible. But that's the plan with the page, and then I'll talk about Franny and the Fox Boutique maybe like next week. I'm thinking because that's going to be going live towards the end of February. So I'll talk more about that then. I don't want to really get into that whole subject because I didn't prepare, but it's really exciting. It's really exciting.
And we still are going to do all the Q&A questions too. It's just that next week I think we have to record 2 episodes so that we have one for you.
Or we'll record right before we leave for Florida. So either way, we have to do 2 next week because we will be in Florida, and I'm not going to take the podcast equipment with us because that would be hard. But yeah, so we definitely will have the Q&A next week, answers, and then some about Franny and the Fox, and then I'll go through everything that I did pack for Arrow. In case you are in the same boat as me, I have lots and lots of advice from Instagram that I have to read through today, and I already found a really cool travel thing. It's kind of pricey, but I feel like I'll use it for camping and for every single trip we ever go on. It's like because people are like, you need your pack and play, but I'm like, yes, I did want to take it, and I was going to take it, but it's so bulky that this thing is like, it folds into a backpack, but it's like a pack and play, but it has like a bug protector, net, a sun protector. It just is really cool. I had my mom scope it out too. I was like, this looks kind of like worth it. And I feel like I could use it for all my kids. So I'm excited about that. I'm going to order it and check it out. Okay, we're just going to wrap up this episode with a couple of your questions that you guys asked us.
Yeah, and we were talking about babies and stuff in Arrow and the different things. So somebody asked what Nicole's favorite things were as a baby. And I feel so old because it seems like it's so long ago. But
yeah, I'm about to be 30.
Yes. Her favorite person, I think, was definitely me. She had a hard time even going to school, so it was definitely me. It was her. She loved her whole family, but she was very attached to me. Her favorite food was definitely noodles.
Even as a kid?
Yes.
Oh my God, I'm addicted these days. It's really bad. I eat noodles at least once a day. Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and and cheese and mayonnaise sandwiches.
I still eat those.
Which people think that when we've eaten them before, when people have been over, they think it is so weird. But even on homemade bread, it's the best, is it not?
Yeah. But with the right piece of cheese. Honestly, just like American cheese is really good. A Kraft single tastes really good. But, I mean, any kind of cheese.
And when Nicole was younger, like
Miracle Whip Light it's not, you have to have that because the Miracle Whip Light makes it a little bit sweeter. I've tried like the real like mayo or mayo with olive oil that Victor eats. And
the funny thing about this, the cheese and mayonnaise sandwich is right after I had Jessie, Nicole was like a little bit jealous because she was used to having all my attention. So she started this thing where she got up in the middle of the night, like I'm going to say 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and said she needed something to eat and drink. And she could talk really well, and she knew everything. And she'd tell me she wants a cheese and mayonnaise sandwich. So I'd literally go, and so I'd go upstairs. She'd say, lift me up. I'd put her on the counter while I made it, got everything out. She'd cut the crust off, like even before I know the procedure, but she's telling me, she's bossing around, telling me exactly how to do it. The other thing, get the knife, cut the crust off, cut it in 4. So like, okay, get my milk. So, like, I would do this every day. And so I was tired because I was also taking care of a baby in the night, So when I was tired, so I would start it out with me sitting up there while she ate the sandwich. And it would take a good, I'm going to say 30 minutes. Sometimes she would poke and eat the sandwich and drink the milk. So then after a while, I just started putting it on a paper plate, grabbing her milk cup and just carrying her back into our bed and putting her in the middle of the bed with it and like half falling asleep and half watching her eat her sandwich. And this went on for like about a week, and she was eating most of it. Then the one day my husband got up for work and he had cheese, mayonnaise, and bread on every part of him. One piece sticking to his arm, one piece sticking to his leg. And I'm like, okay, Nicole, that's enough. So I just like told her, no more. We'll get your milk, but we are not getting no more cheese and mayonnaise sandwich. But this literally went on for, I'm going to say, a straight month to 2 months where she would wake me up to make her a cheese and mayonnaise sandwich. And
oh my God, and I just told you today that I'm addicted to bread too, bread and noodles, and I was eating that at 2 a.m. when I was a toddler. That's hilarious. Well, my mom was talking today about, Arrow got a little bit backed up from the sweet potatoes. He's just pushing really hard, but I mean, it's still like getting stuff out. He's still very happy, but I can tell like, his bowel movements are not like the same. So we gave him prunes today a little bit, and he did good with them. He liked them, but, so where was I going with that? Oh, about my mom said, does he like it? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I try everything before he tries it just so I know like what he's eating. And she's like, I just gave you, what kind did you give me?
Dutch apple dessert.
Dutch apple dessert every day because that's what you wanted. I'm like, no crap, Mom. What baby wouldn't want that? And she's like, well, yeah, I just bought you that. And then, then you started wanting only SpaghettiOs. So you'd grab me a can of SpaghettiOs every day and you'd bring it to me. I'm like, Mom. She's like, well, and mac and cheese. I'm like, oh my God.
And the thing is, like, it was so funny when we were just talking about it at the dinner table. Nicole's like, you're lucky me and Jessie. And I said, well, I mean, I did start out eating the regular, but as soon as they didn't like it, I actually just quit. If they didn't like peas and green beans after the first time.
But we eat all vegetables now. Jessie and I are not picky eaters, so you got lucky there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it worked.
So I just let them eat what they wanted, but that is bad because, like I said, she was really smart. So she would just go put the turnaround cupboard out and get the SpaghettiOs out and get the mac and cheese out and say lunch. And I would just say, okay, and make it. But like when Victor said, he goes, well, think about it, Nicole, they didn't have the internet to look up all the answers. They didn't know, they didn't talk to everybody else about what they're feeding them. They just went to the grocery store and we just...
And you picked out what I wanted, and I was happy, and I was doing fine, and obviously I was healthy.
And I mean, for dinner, I always made mashed potatoes, meat. Like I was a meat and potato, like kind of dinners. We always had big dinners, meatballs, whatever.
But I mean, what kid wouldn't want to live off of SpaghettiOs and mac and cheese, right? Yeah, and sometimes she'd go through get me a Happy Meal with sweet and sour sauce.
Oh, that was a lot too, yeah. McDonald's. That's what Dave says. He's like, he's about our vehicle, but he'd come home because he was away all week, and then he'd come home and he's like, well, I know where you went. There's sticky sweet and sour sauce all in the back seat. But yeah,
I don't remember.
I guess I was a pushover. I was literally a pushover as a mom. When we went in the grocery store, I let them pick up what they wanted to eat.
But what's really weird and good about that is I felt like it really formed good habits for me when I was in like junior high and high school. Like my mom would always have like the cosmic brownies, the Hostess cupcakes, whatever, my friends would just be like, they'd come over and eat like 4 of them. And I'm like, what is going on? I might have ate 1 a month or something. I was never like felt deprived of it. And I think I've said this before, like, I almost think like that's kind of good in a way. Because if you restrict someone so much, and I also think that's, if you're really strict as a parent, I feel like your child might rebel. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out for Arrow. Like, I'm like, should I be super strict with his food? Because I can control everything that goes in him. For, like, my mom's like, well, on his first birthday, because she's like, I can't wait till he eats ice cream. I'm like, Mom, he's not allowed to eat ice cream. She's like, well, like, when he's his first birthday and, like, when he's older. I was like, no, well, maybe. But I'm like, I also don't want to restrict him. So I don't know what the right answer is for that.
And yes, I did. I always was never one to want to run out of food. So I always had a fridge full of cans of pop if people come over, juice boxes. This is bad now if you think about it.
I drink pop once in a blue moon.
But remember your friend down the road? She'd come over.
Oh my God, she'd come over and take all the golden nugget bars.
And four pops. I'm like, oh. She's like, can I have another one? Can I have another one? And she was a little bit older than Nicole. And I'm like, oh, what does your mom and dad say? Because it was just scary for me.
You never had to tell us no because we didn't do that.
But she was already like 14 or 15, so I just did. Yeah, it was just awkward for me because I was so uncomfortable.
The Swans man would come over. Mom would get the golden nugget bars. There's only 6 in a pack, and they're kind of expensive. I don't even get them
6
now.
6 or 8, yeah.
And she would want like literally 4 of them, and they're like, I would eat like 1 every like 2 weeks as like a treat because that's just what I felt like. I felt like, I don't know, that
I always had candy dishes. Yeah, there was everything was at my house. So
Mom's like, you can't bring her over all the time because we're not going to have anything left.
Well, and not even then. She just came over and she'd say, "Let's play basketball." But then she's like, "What do you got in here?" Because I had a fridge in the garage and the freezer in the garage, so she would open.
She would sneak them.
So she would just open, and I think it's because she didn't get at home. And that was very awkward for me because it wasn't somebody that I was responsible for spending the night. It was just somebody coming down. She was already older and. I'm like, oh gosh, like it was hard because.
And I think her parenting was just a little different. They must not have had that stuff at all, so it makes it different. And then as you're like, do I have to call their parent and tell them that they had 2 candy bars, or is this okay? Like I don't know, but yeah, she was 14 or like around that 14 or 15 or whatever.
Yeah, and and that's what a lot of the kids that were older like that would come up and my candy dish would be totally full, and they would. Oh, the one my
yeah. This is a funny story. I know what you're gonna say
about Amanda.
Yeah,
Amanda, who was in Nicole's wedding, so she's her cousin, and isn't she like 10 years older than you?
She's no, because she's not going to be 40. She's only like 36, 35, maybe 35.
Oh, so she's like 5 or 6.
Yeah, she's only like 5 years older.
So,
but she babysat me, which is interesting.
Yeah. So how old was she when she did this? Like not.
Yeah, and she was young.
But you were already born.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say she's like 7 or 8. And anyways, I got a phone. They were over visiting her and her mom. We're close with their family. And she went, for some reason, she had the zip up footy pajamas on or whatever. And and her mom called me, my aunt called me when she got home and she goes, Amanda has something to say to you. And Amanda's like, I don't want to say, you say it or whatever. Then her mom talks. She said, she wanted to tell you she's sorry, but she took all your Reese's peanut butter cups. And she goes, and she zipped them all up into her footy pajamas and filled both of her coat pockets. So I was laughing because I didn't even realize that all my candy dishes were empty. And I went and looked and all the good stuff was out of all the candy dishes and she had somehow snuck. I said, well, I don't care, but it was so funny.
That is so fun. So funny.
Yeah, she was. But yeah, I did always. So Nicole liked food. Yeah, like noodles. And then favorite person. And what didn't she like? I don't know anything. I would
stand on the tables and put on shows for everybody as well.
She liked attention.
I was an attention hog, I feel like.
And what really makes me sad now is I had a video camera. Dave bought me one, and it was the kind that had the little tapes in it. And so I have all these movies of the kids on these little tapes, and I somehow I don't know how to watch them now. It's like frustrating because I don't have a VCR.
Victor can figure that out.
We can have to get them on.
Do you know where they are, though?
Yes, I got them all in the cases.
Victor knows.
And then I have some that are in the big tapes too, because I had 2 different. But I would love to like put a couple of them up for people to see.
That'd be so funny.
Because she was actually quite a
really
funny child.
My mom always says if there was TikTok when you were a kid or Instagram or whatever, that I would have made the funniest funny videos.
Well, I love that. I don't know who else watches TikTok, but I watch TikTok for the little kids that are like not coached, the ones that just say the funniest thing. Oh my gosh.
I can tell when some are coached because they react before the sentence is finished to something, but then I can tell when they're like sincere, and that's hilarious. And you can tell because it's not set up like their house is a mess, like the kids wearing whatever, and it's just hilarious, like real life. And they say the funniest things. Yes, I will. I'm always sending. That's one thing I love to watch in the morning when I have my coffee. I love to click on the TikTok, and I think because I watch a lot of kids, because it has the suggested for you, that I get a whole bunch like that. So I get the funniest. Cutest little kids. It's like watching Americans' Funniest Videos, like in short version on TikTok. I love it. I don't know. She does send me a lot of funny ones. But thank you guys so much for joining us this week. We really appreciate it. If you could rate, review, and subscribe on that little purple app on your phone that said podcast, we would really appreciate it. It helps us every time you listen. We just get so excited. So please come and join the Coco Caliente podcast page on Facebook and join our discussions. We appreciate you guys. See you next week.
If you want to be the most interesting person at the cocktail party, well, hop on over and listen to the Brain Candy Podcast.
Our award-winning content will have you laughing while you're learning.
We read all the best articles, books, and studies, and keep up with new TV shows, documentaries, and pop culture. And then we cram it all into 2 shows a week.
Conspiracy theories, cannibal rabbits, unsolved mysteries, the history of the Walkman. There's something for everyone.
The Brain Candy Podcast. Find our link in the show notes.
Or simply search for the Brain Candy Podcast on your podcast app.